Mightyreacts, back with the reacts. On today's video, we are reacting to what happens to your brain without any social contact. I think for some people, it will be good, and for some people, it will be bad because some people have some problems and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, we don't know, it's 50-50. But hey, enough with talking, let's react.
Everyone needs time to themselves, and peaceful solitude has stress-relieving benefits. But being
Yes.
alone takes on an entirely different dimension when it creeps up or is forced upon you. When that's the case, the effects can be surprisingly extensive. And though different people experience distinct effects at different times, symptoms tend to become more severe and persistent the longer one's isolated. When someone is involuntarily confined to one space indefinitely for days, weeks, months, or even years, alone and without productive tasks.
But I think isolating yourself for that long, it cannot be healthy for you and for your brain. So you don't need social contact like every day or something, but just some social contact can be good for you, good for your health, and healthy for your brain.
Their body will likely undergo numerous changes. Let's take a look at what may happen and why.
Okay, let's
Early
go.
on, stress hormones may spike, and as time passes, that stress can become chronic. Social
Shit.
interactions and meaningful activities are essential for emotional stability. This may
Definitely.
be because they provide us with what researchers call social reality testing, a sort of sounding board where we can gauge how rational our perceptions are. So, when someone's deprived of those kinds of communication and tasks, their sense of identity and reality becomes threatened. Their thoughts spiral and their impulses take the reins, setting the stage for depression, obsessions, suicidal ideation, and, for some, delusions and hallucinations. Over time, this prolonged agitation can cause the brain's limbic system, which regulates fear and stress, to become especially responsive and hyperactive. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's hub for reasoning and moral judgment, may shrink, impairing one's focus, memory, and cognition. Overall, the balance shifts from rational thinking towards emotionality, and as someone remains in this state, the imbalance becomes ingrained, making them more prone to bouts of anxiety, rage, and irrational actions.
Yeah, man, it can be dangerous,
Isolation
bro.
will also affect other parts of the person's health. They may lose sense of time and have difficulties sleeping. They're more likely to experience heart palpitations, headaches, dizziness, and hypersensitivity. And they may also lose weight because of stress-induced digestive issues and poor appetite.
Damn,
One can
all of
attempt to
that
cope by establishing the
just by
healthiest
isolating.
routine possible under the extreme circumstances, including robust exercise, reading, and writing. But that can only do so much. The United Nations, many human rights organizations, and experts classify this kind of forced, prolonged isolation as torture. And yet, it's something imprisoned people in many countries endure. Also called solitary confinement or restrictive housing, the practice is most common in the United States. In 2019, more than 120,000 US prisoners lived in solitary confinement, spending
Yes.
22 to 24 hours a day in mostly windowless cells.
Bro, this situation, you can go crazy.
Spanning roughly 6 by 9 feet. Quaker groups introduced solitary confinement to U.S. prisons in the late 1700s as an alternative to corporal punishment, believing it could bring about reflection and penitence. hence penitentiary. But the practice quickly faced criticism from public figures all the way to the Supreme Court. Charles Dickens, for one, condemned solitary confinement as worse than any torture of the body. Its
Yeah, I
use
think so too.
dwindled, but then, in the 1980s, alongside more punitive, tough-on-crime laws, U.S. prison populations skyrocketed. As prisons grew crowded, incidences of protests, rebellions, and violence grew, and prison authorities increasingly used solitary confinement to maintain control. Many people have been placed in solitary confinement for minor, non-violent infractions, like talking back to prison guards.
Whoa.
And solitary confinement.
Bro, in this situation, if your brain is not strong, you can lose it in there. You have to really be strong-minded in this situation. And especially for that situation, you did nothing crazy and you get sent in the isolation box or room. You gotta be really strong-minded.
Is harmful to everyone, but many
Yes.
who've experienced it have pre-existing mental health disorders,
Damn.
which it only exacerbates. Solitary confinement also seems to have lasting effects that make readjusting to life outside of a cell difficult. People who have gone through solitary confinement are 3 times more likely to show signs of post-traumatic stress disorder.
That's
And
bad,
they commonly
bro.
report experiencing shifts in their personalities, increased anxiety and paranoia in otherwise ordinary situations, and difficulty concentrating and connecting with others. Some states have restricted the use of solitary confinement in cases involving serious mental illness, children, or pregnancy, and some have adopted 15 or 20-day limits for everyone. But laws that regulate solitary confinement aren't always enforced, and prison authorities have created loopholes. Yet solitary confinement does immense damage that is contrary to rehabilitation, while failing to reduce prison violence. Meanwhile, other countries have centered more humane approaches. Norway, for example, imprisons far fewer people per capita than the US, while spending 5 times
That's good.
more per prisoner on accommodations, classes, and work release programs. Norway also sees far fewer people return to prison after release,
Hey, that's
with one
good.
of the
That's
world's
nice.
lowest rates of recidivism, indicating we tend to get better together.
Hey, that's good, bro. Other countries need to take notes about that. Look, I understand if you do the crime, you have to do the time, but in there, especially they can give you a program, like Norway, to do stuff that you can learn in the prison, that you can go to school or learn something how to build houses. Anyways, you know what I mean. So when you come out of the prison, you have something to do with your life, instead of when you come out you don't have nothing and you go back to doing bad stuff and you end up in jail. So yeah, I want to say Norway is doing a great job right there, and you see the fact that they have less people that are coming back to prison, so that is good.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of people in the US who can't afford bail are forced to stay in jail until their case is resolved. Take a closer look at what has broken the cash bail system with this video.
Alright, this was a great video by Ted Ed. This show you how important social contact is. You don't need it all the time, but socialize more. Keep your brain working, keep your brain healthy, and it makes your body healthy too. This was a great video. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. See you guys on the next reaction. Gone.